Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to typically sunny Southern California. We're here at the 2018 Spikeball Roundnet National Tournament. We have got our first round of Premier bracket play. Two veteran teams here. Deatheaters, Zach Vance, Marlon Fleming against HOOPLA. That's Sean Segenza and John Charance. It is going to be a barn burner here. I wouldn't have expected a first round matchup here.
No, these two great teams. We got the Deatheaters in green and HOOPLA in the teal and black. So they're going to kick it off right here, jumping into it, giving some high fives. I think both teams are pretty psyched to be finally in the bracket and kicking off round one.
Yeah, I actually love this matchup. It stinks that they have to play each other round one, but Zach Vance and Sean Segenza, big students of the game for their respective teams. As Sean puts a good pass up, and John, who just qualified for Premier this year in San Diego, misses the net, and point one goes the way of Deatheaters.
Yeah, he looked a little off balance on the approach for that hit, and it showed when he fell over before he could even get a good strike. Another off balance set, but I think that'll be chalked up against Sean as it was a little high for him, hard to wrangle.
Yeah, both teams need to get back into the swing of things here after a short little break between the pool play and bracket play. And first point on the board for HOOPLA due to a missed serve by Zach.
Yeah, this will be a best of 3 series as well, games to 21. And it's always so important for a team to win that game 1, because then you go into game 2 a little confident, you're not feeling like you're playing from behind, and there's just a lot of pressure off. And now that we're in bracket, if you lose the series, you're out.
This is it. This is it. This is a national championship. You better believe these teams are going to be fighting for their shot at their prize pool. Sean, a great pull around Marlon, who is a very consistent player, good on defense, but cannot get a right hand on that one at all. Yeah,
Marlon goes for the up-close body defense, throws his hand, but he is a little high, and Sean read it well to get above him.
I love the start here. It's close by both teams. They're being aggressive. I like the aggressive serve there by John. That one pockets up. We'll go to serve number 2. I like them getting a second ball in here. These guys don't want to waste any time. They're here to play as much spike ball as possible, and they're going to cram it in as John steps back, fakes the backhand serve, rotates around, and gets the ace.
I have never seen that before. That was crazy.
The misdirection fooled me on the desk, and I'm supposed to be an analyst of the game here today.
He took a already crazy serve and made it crazier by continuing that step around, and I think that whoever he was serving to was as confused as we were back here, but it worked out. Got him an ace.
Yeah, great job there. Sneaking that left hand by. Great set from off the net by Zach. Zach, also a very consistent player, likable, vocal guy on the forums, but he's missed his second serve of the match, and he's going to have to step it up if these guys really want to make sure they keep the pressure on HOOPLA, who struggled in the pool play.
Great short serve, and this has been the difference so far. 2 aces for HOOPLA, and they got a lead going.
Yeah, their kills haven't been there, but missed serves, and what a flango serve by Sean. The passes ended up being a little bit quick. Marlon couldn't get it back there, and he's going to get a chance. This is not a guy you want to give several serves in a row to.
Definitely not, and they're 6-4, getting an early lead in game 1. That's right where you want to be in the first round of bracket.
Absolutely, as Sean puts himself in a good position to serve. People don't talk about it enough, how your serve really sets up how you can rotate on defense. The stronger the serve, the more predictable the positioning you're going to need to have, and a big right hand by Sean to put that one away.
Yeah, and going off what you're talking about, the serve really determines how the play will develop, which can lead to maybe an off-balance hit from the other team, which gives you a chance to break a point, or the opposite.
Yeah, and Marlon goes for another left hand. I think he hit the net. They gave up early there. Sean puts it away for good measure. He's happy about it. They take their first 2-point lead of the match. If you're just joining us or you're new to Roundnet, 2 points means a lot in this sport. But Deatheaters brings it back within 1 off the right hand of Zach.
Yeah, we see a lot of, especially in Premier and Pro divisions and women's, games will be rarely more than 4 or 5 points apart, so every point matters, and that's what I try and stress to teams that are just starting out. Like, you can't go easy on these early points. You gotta think every single one is gonna determine the end of the game.
Absolutely, and very often it does. Those break points matter. This 3-point lead, I mean, they've given themselves a little cushion already, right? I mean, they could be sneaking to 4 points here off the unfortunate off-speed pitch that was served up to Zach, not able to get a hand on it. And HOOPLA, a sizable lead coming in as the underdog lower seed from the pool play.
Yeah, and they're just getting in their own heads now. The Deatheaters need to step it up here. Maybe I wouldn't blame them if they took a timeout, try to reset their play style, because it's getting away from them at 11-6.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. This point's pretty huge for them. Easy defense, though. I don't know if someone kicked the net, but great call. I like this call by Zach here to take a timeout. 5 points, or 4 points, sorry, is plenty. That's enough points to say, hey, bud, we need to get this settled in, calm, cool, collected. And
I almost think that they heard me over there
yeah,
talking about timeouts, and then they took one. But
it's like you've played the game before. Yeah,
it makes sense though. They saw a lead extending, and they really needed to stop it, because 7-11, that's already going to be hard to come back from. And hopefully they were able to talk about what HOOPLA's been doing and change a few things on their end.
I mean, these are guys that come in, I believe, as the 9 seed, who kind of rolled through their pool somewhere around 5-1, playing against a team that went 1-5. I think the inverse. So to be down to the team you're supposed to have a decent matchup against round 1 is not the position you want to find yourself. Yeah,
and I think that kind of is a testament to just how their day is going.
Absolutely. Oh, Zach, see, this timeout.
Zach's pumped.
It had to be the best thing. Making the noise, I love it. He looks back at us. He's like, "You guys got that right."
You're filming, right?
We saw it, Zach. It was a great serve. Trying to do it again. That one will, by the body language, be a rim. It looks like, and John Scherentz is back to serve. Try to extend this lead for HOOPLA.
Yeah, great ace from Zach though, getting that break. They need a few more of those, but it starts with one, and there's a reason he's excited.
Yeah, and that was a phenomenal backhand serve by John. For a guy that qualified for Premier just earlier this year, that is pro-level serving.
It really is. I mean, it goes to show why he has now qualified, and he's up here with these great players in the Premier division.
Absolutely. The pocket, will they opt to play it? No. Sean wants to stay right there. You'll see a lot of the players do that. They don't even want to give themselves a shot there. For that reason, exactly. 2 pockets means point for HOOPLA. And Sean, the man with the crazy flango, is going to step back to serve. Let's see if we see it. No, opts for the easy right hand. Great first pass by Marlon, who's been hitting a lot with his left, and it hasn't been going well. He's there for defense. However, he's got this on his right, swings at it, and misses. Unfortunate for Deatheaters, but a great rally all around.
Yeah, that was awesome, and that's a big point. They're excited, and you can start to see the rallies are developing more. We're getting a little more action. Maybe defense is slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, they took a long break in between pool play. Great left hand by Sean. Interrupt myself here. Another body up defense by Zach. Body by Sean, and he can't get that one up. Great effort and good
came
defense.
To play, baby, and there's a lot of game left. We're at
Oh,
14-11. Deatheaters got to really love that and feed into the excitement that they got going. A little momentum.
I just got this wave of adrenaline because it is match time, baby. I mean, we're moving into bracket play where the level of intensity is going to ramp up. These guys have felt each other out for the first half of this match, and we're about to see, I think, some fireworks.
Absolutely. With a single elimination, game 1 of a series in the first round of bracket play. These guys know what's on the line, and they're starting to play like it.
Oh, totally. And Siggy halted a little bit there, kind of stutter-stepped, thinking it was just going to be put away. I think if he just starts running, he might catch up to that.
Yeah, those are the worst for a player. They kind of give up on a play because they think the ball is just going to be thrown away, and then it happens to pocket, or maybe it's not as hard as you thought, and you could have had a shot at it. It dies right in front of you.
Yeah, and Marlon in a position now. He missed the serve. Lucky Sean missed the serve as well. So Zach Vance of the Deatheaters back. He's hit some crazy serves. That one seems to have clipped the rim.
I almost thought that was good, but maybe we can't hear the rim as well as them out there. It didn't seem like there's any debate among the players.
We'll blame the headsets.
Yeah.
It looked good to me, but body language told me otherwise. Zach, I don't know if he's trying too hard, trying to put this on his back, do it himself, but okay, good call.
Yeah.
Good call by Zach, letting that one go.
That serve style actually got him the ace earlier in the game, so it's no surprise he's going back towards it.
And Love the drop shot there, but good job by Marlon. A little pocket allows Sean to get there. This looks like a good set. Backhand by Sean. Zach is there. That one's across the net. He's going to have to dive. Gets there,
awesome
but not
effort.
yet.
He
Great
takes a
try.
face full of sand on that one, but can't blame him for trying. That was a big point. And a decent set from his partner, but still a little far out of reach.
You can never, he's never been accused of not hustling. Zach Vance, if he plays with you, he's going to give it his all. He is a serious student of the game. He loves it. I love seeing him here on this featured court for the Premier Division.
Yeah, and I've been loving seeing HOOPLA work in these short serves, because the first half of the game, they're hitting them really hard. They're putting Deatheaters on their heels, kind of conditioning them to that expectation, but now they're getting a few drops and they're working. Yeah,
they're throwing on. They lulled them in this false sense of security. Right when Deatheaters think they have a serve figured out, they started mixing it up, and that shows you how much he understands the dynamics of this game. And I think moving forward, that's going to do very well if they can get through Deatheaters first.
Yeah, with 19-14, it's going to be pretty hard for the Deatheaters to get back in this. But considering this is a series, at the very least, they want to get a few points, get some confidence back going into Game 2, and know it wasn't a complete blowout.
I think I'm seeing a lot of Marlon's left hand right now. He's not hitting it perfectly, but he seems to be favoring it. I don't know if we have any intel on why, as Zach thinks he hits an ace serve here, but it was called a little high, I guess. He's giving it his all. He's going to try again. Another one that pockets up, and that will be a point for Deatheaters. Rotating now as John wants to most likely try to end this on this trademark backhand. No, he rotates the core and goes one-footed and hits it into the rim.
Yeah, straight rim there. Game point here for HOOPLA.
But this is setting up to be just fine. The drop shot back at his starting position. Oh, he must have changed up our game. And when you came from being down a position of where you're back 3, 4, 5 points, you might start trying to work too hard, and I think the Deatheaters just need to get back to what they know best and just, you know, bump, set, kill, and use your right hand till it doesn't work anymore.
Exactly, and I think it might be setting in for them right now too as well, that like if they lose this game, they're out of the tournament. They're out of the national championship, so maybe they'll bring that little extra zest into this series and hopefully force a Game 3.
I'm looking for some spicy serves from Zach. He started to get the flow a little bit. You could tell he was serving extremely hard. Did it cause a couple of errors? Sure, but I think he had to, being down a couple of points. I mean, he had to find a way to steal it. He needs to have his confidence in his partner and say, hey, I don't think Marlon played to the best of his abilities. You got to be able to tell your teammate, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to come back and do what we did in pool play and bring it to him as best we can.
Yeah, and it's always that tricky balance with serving of, if you're going to bring the heat, do you pull a little bit off just to get it on the net so you can like at least ensure a shot at playing defense? I'll be curious to see what the Deatheaters, what sort of strategy. Are they going to come all out for some aces, try and get a few breaks, go up early? Or are they going to be a little more conservative? And the same thing for HOOPLA. It's always that internal battle.
Absolutely, and I don't know if maybe I'm crazy, but I think Marlon switched hats, which is exactly the kind of superstitious play that you might need going into a series.
Hey man, if they win this game, that's the lucky hat. They're wearing that the rest of the day.
Oh, you better believe it. That Spikeball Roundnet Nationals 2018 limited exclusive hat on #1, Marlon Fleming over there. As Zach lets a rip on the first one. He's coming back with a vengeance.
Well, I guess that answers my question.
Yeah.
No conservation here. They're bringing the heat.
Yeah, they brought the heat. It didn't pan out for point #1, but I think that sets the tone, and hopefully, I don't think they're getting in anyone's head, but I think that's the goal. But John coming back with a spicy serve of his own, and there's Marlon's left hand. That's actually a really good confidence boost. His left was not working too well last game, and to put the first one away, I think was important.
Yeah, he had a lot of space to work with, so all he really had to do was make sure he got some contact with the ball and cleanly hit it off the net, which he did. Easily drifted into space, and HOOPLA was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, they're a team that they've played for a very long time. We've both seen them a ton the last couple of years. They've dabbled with other teammates, but I think they're a group of guys that have a really good chemistry with one another. I think they're longtime friends and Harry Potter fans by the name Deatheaters. But I think, you know, that the chemistry that they have is something that might put them a little bit ahead as that push shot goes behind Sean. Great awareness by Zach.
Yeah, it's so subtle with that hit, but it's a very, very veteran move to be able to read. He read that Sean was overrunning that play, and so he put it right back behind him where he had no chance to get a hand on it.
And that's a play I want to see more of. Sigenza's right hand backhand is something that comes out with so much spin, it stays so low, and it's hit so hard. So if John keeps setting him up on that left side of his body, I hope to see more of those than actual left hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see there hasn't been too much of trading points so far. It's been pretty standard play. I would love to see Deatheaters get a couple points lead just for some confidence before this gets too far ahead.
Yeah, I think that must have been a topic of conversation. Come out, serve hard, because that's a missed serve from each of the Deatheaters players. But they're coming out swinging. They're letting them know they're here to play. Their defense has always been pretty consistent, so as long as they don't let this one get out of hand like they did last game, they're going to be in this till the bitter end.
Yeah, and I think hopefully in between games that they were able to talk. There's definitely certain players on the other team that you want to maybe get the serve on instead of go for the ace because they're not as good at putting the ball away. And just talking that out, trying to figure out what holes does HOOPLA have and how are they going to get back in this.
Absolutely, and I don't want to give too many trade secrets away. I mean, I'm not competitive anymore, but positioning matters completely, and I totally agree with you. There's times where you need to just get that serve on when you know that bump set spike is going to be coming back at you, and you've got that easy rotation. I think that this is something that Deatheaters definitely know about, and I look for them to get some more serves on. Although Marlon did just hit that one straight into the rim.
Yeah, there's been a number of missed serves so far, whether it's nerves playing a role or just some mental errors. That will probably be the difference of who pulls this one out.
Yeah, pocket serve there by Sean. That's been a common theme. I actually look for him to dial it back because he knows how big his defense is.
Dialed it back a little too much there.
Really pulled the string on that one. Didn't even make it to the net. I'll give him a little flack about that later, but another good serve. I think that might be called a little high, but Zach not letting off the gas at all. We're tied up here and looking to steal one on his own, and another missed serve from the Deatheaters.
They're bringing it, man. I would say call timeout, talk about what the serve's going on, and potentially start just getting it on the net. You don't need to get an ace every time. It's unlikely, and give yourself to make a defensive stand. Yeah,
I think if any of these teams get down 2 points, you take the timeout. You do what you can to regroup. You know how much this game could mean. Putting this away now is actually pretty important for HOOPLA because you give any team momentum. I mean, I don't have a stat, but I'd be willing to bet the team that wins game 2 goes on to win game 3 pretty often.
Momentum is a huge part of Roundnet and sports in general, and so it's almost better to win game 2 than game 1 if you're considering that game 3 mentality.
Absolutely. So we're going to get a little rotate in. Every 5 points, if you're just tuning in, that's something that was added to the sport. Great for the sport. Every 5 points, the players will rotate defensive and offensive positions just a quarter turn to make sure that the sun and the wind are not a constant factor for one player specifically throughout the duration of the match. I love that it was added, and as this sport continues to grow, I hope we find more ways to balance it out and get all these crazy rallies. And man, Zach is hitting the ball hard.
He's hitting it hard. He's hitting rim though, and that's I think his 2nd or 3rd in a row. So he needs to pull that back just a hair so he can at least get it on the net.
I mean, the Deatheaters have ended all of their offensive possessions on missed serves. I'd be willing to bet that almost every single one this game has been ended on a missed serve, and hopefully Marlon can break that streak here, and that these guys can get something going on defense.
And there you have it, another missed serve. It's not doing they're not doing themselves any favors right here.
At what point do you just stand there and hit it straight down onto the net?
Yeah, let's revert back to like some easy gentleman serves and just get it on so we can play some Roundnet here.
Absolutely, big high pass, and Marlon can't get it back. But to continue on our point on why serves are so important, you see that they can play defense. They got to a ball that a lot of teams can't get to in this division, and puts it up for his teammate. They didn't convert, but if you're not getting your serves on the net, you don't even give yourself a chance.
Exactly, and with the position they're in, down a game, in game 2, they need to start doing something a little more creative and getting these edges.
Sean got a little bit rewarded there as he's got to play defense one more time. He whiffed the first one, but it went up off of his body, ended up going pretty well, but not able to do it ×2. So Zach gonna step back, and what are you betting on? Is he letting a rip?
I think he's gonna bring the heat, and he gets it on this time. Fortunately, a nice touch from Zach. It'll be a miracle if this goes on, but kudos to them for even getting 3 touches on it. It was a pretty hard hit, and it shows that they're ready to play defense when able.
Absolutely. You can even see the props given to him by Sean on the other team, giving him the point and the hey, way to be there. Incredible play. That serve looked okay, did not sound okay, I guess. And Marlin is going to step back and try to tie this one up, I believe.
Yeah, they could really use a point here, a break point that is, and get back in this, because HOOPLA is feeling really comfortable right now, I imagine. You know,
so I think that was our moment. He didn't, instead of getting that side, more of a tennis-style serve in to try to really put some spin on the ball and hit it hard, he straight from the chest, basically right at him, and they got it on, gave themselves a chance. It didn't work out, but I hope they keep doing that to try to convert later.
Absolutely, and I just want to mention, well, we're streaming across a lot of different platforms, but I want to give an opportunity for those of you watching through Facebook. If you have any questions, any comments, you want something else to talk about, whatever it may be, please throw them in the feed right now, and after this game, we'll try and get some of those answered.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what people have to say. I hope everyone's enjoying the content being brought to you today. I think now is actually a perfect time to give the man behind the entire stream a huge shout out. Mike White, the newest Spikeball employee, due to his dedication to the craft and the sport of Roundnet. He's the man to thank for this awesome stream setup that we have here today, and it's a big round of applause for Mike White, and shout him out on all of your social media platforms.
Yeah, he's the one to thank for a lot of the production value we have here today, and he's just been absolutely crushing it the last few months, so big congrats to him, and hopefully we can get him on camera for maybe a game or two later today.
Oh, we had a really finessey rally there, a lot of drop shots. I like that Marlin was mixing it up a little bit there. It ended up paying off for them in the long run, but with these teams being so great defensively, they're not going to get away with that every time.
No, and while we were talking, it seems they've just been trading points back and forth, a little bit of the same we've seen throughout this game too. A botched set from HOOPLA, though. That's exactly what Deatheaters need. You can tell with Zach's reaction that it's a big miss and gives them an open door for them to take this game.
For sure. And Zach, Marlin, they're playing that one up. That was bounced. That bounced off of Marlin. It was going up. It hit John. This is a point that you'll replay. It wasn't necessarily an offensive position, but Zach still had a chance to get there. And Marlin, he's getting a lot of touches on this up-close defense right now.
He is. He's getting his body in there, and sometimes it's working out. It hasn't been as of late the last few points, but I think he needs to keep doing it. And it'll. Oh my goodness, that was quite a play.
This is still a crazy play. I'm almost interested. Well, we're not going to find out, but a lot of people were dodging a lot of bodies.
Sean just stopped me in my tracks right there with that get. He dove across the net and got that ball up, and they kept it alive, but Deatheaters were calm, cool, collected to close that point out.
Yeah, and what the crazy thing is, John actually could have put that away, but he didn't even see Marlin or Zach, and he just drop shotted it, and they came out of nowhere and played the defense. This is textbook 1, 2, 3 from HOOPLA, but man, they almost got too comfortable. They're taking a timeout here. I think they realize that, and they don't want Zach, who's getting absolutely pumped over there and vocal, to get too much momentum. They want to slow him down, ice the kicker a little.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of different types of personalities that come out to these tournaments and play. We see the animated, the super psyched, get pumped, maybe try and get in the head of the opponents, and then we see those that are a little calmer, just want to play the game and focus on what they're doing. It's funny when those come and clash.
Absolutely, and I like what Deatheaters is doing here. I've done it multiple times. You call this timeout. We're both going to break, and we're going to walk back to the net to let you know, hey, we're here to play, man. We're not. You take as much time as you need. We'll be here when you need us. And Deatheaters still down 1. They're looking to get back into this. Left hand by Marlin. Didn't work out again. Gets a hand on that one. I think he's calling a rim. I am not. I'm going to stay out of this one. they might be trying to play it up. He did get a left hand on it, but I'm not sure if the argument is on the way down or on the way up that they're talking about.
Yeah, and arguments aside, if we were to break down that point, where it really fell out for the Death Eaters was Zach's set to Marlon was not to his right hand, his dominant hand. It was off to the left, which only gave Marlon so many options and so much power to be able to get that on, so John had an easy up.
Yeah, John, a great serve, really setting him up. And
another poor set from Zach Vance, and that could be the difference here. It gives them the 2-point break that is going to make the difference come 21.
Yeah, we talk about how Marlon's been using his left hand so much, and it's so much of it comes down to the set, but let's skip all that. That looked like a phenomenal serve, and Death Eaters really trying to...
So what's happening here is John got that short serve, and it was called an ace, but Death Eaters immediately is thinking it was too close within that 6-foot line that you're not allowed to be in. So we'll see if, I guess Death Eaters are going to concede to it and allow them and say it was good. So it should now be, nope, yeah, 19-16, HOOPLA, 2-serve, going game 2. They won game 1. It's coming down to it.
And that's a point. I mean, they know their tournament life is on the line. That's a point they will. You'd think they wouldn't put to rest. They're great guys. They concede the point. It must have been enough evidence. I love that sportsmanship out of them. And HOOPLA is got game point here. He goes for the drop again to end it there. Would have been
behind the back to the step out to the drop. How do you even keep up with that?
You don't. You absolutely don't. You hope for the best, and they put that one away.
They do, but I think they hit net in the process, which you're not allowed to do. It's an automatic loss of points. So that will go to the Death Eaters. We're at 18-20 game point. They need a couple big serves here.
We talked about serve C's hitting that overhand, which I like. You got to get it on the net. That was a big pocket. This is really important for them. Can he chase this down? That was very, very close.
19-20.
Great play. They got to stay in it. They need at least one more to be able to trade points with HOOPLA until they find their next opening.
This is a huge serve. What do you think? Bringing the heat, slow it down?
I think he needs to keep it exactly what he did right there, the overhand. He needs to play defense. He didn't take off early enough. And Death Eaters, who cruised through their pool pretty good, lose to the number, I believe, 25 seed HOOPLA in a big matchup, round 1 of the premier bracket play.
Yeah, that was a pretty great performance from HOOPLA. It took them in 2 games, and we're getting some questions here that we are asking about. Are these games self-refereed? Are there any refs? From Andy Hansen. Bryce, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start this one off. So, Andy, first of all, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for writing in, really putting in the work, and we're trying to bring you as much content and answers as possible. So to answer your question, yes, all of your Roundnet games are self-officiated. However, the Pro Division and I'm sure Premier Division, as we move forward, will have observers. The observers will help the players make the tough calls. They have some active calls to make. But a lot of their purpose is to be there if there are any discrepancies along the play, and maybe Sean can elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, it's kind of been an evolution of the sport. It's grown with the sport, where early on we didn't have any sort of referees. We called them observers, and as Bryce mentioned, over time when things got a little more intense, maybe money was on the line, maybe you didn't know the other team as well, and there was disagreements, we decided observers are a good thing. We don't want them to be a part of the game unless they have to be. And so it's an active call. Some are active calls, some are inactive, but you'll see them later on in the bracket plays, and they stand off to the side. If the teams disagree, they'll come together, they'll make a decision, and it's just a much cleaner, much more efficient system than one team feeling like they got the short end of the stick because they had to agree with something they didn't necessarily agree with and redo a point.
Absolutely. It takes the bias out of all the calls. I mean, so much of what we see out here is just, it's a community sport. I mean, it's so community driven. A lot of people are here because they want to see all the friends that they've made. And as much as they want to win, they want to have a good time. So, so yes, on self-refereed, but yes, there are refs.